Hey everybody, AC here, and welcome back to another episode of Gaming Month. This time we are talking about my 17th favorite video game of all time, which is another three-way tie, which is exactly why it's here at number 17. It's three different Spider-Man games. Spider-Man Friend or Foe on the PS2, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions on the PS3, and Insomniac Spider-Man 2 on the PS4. The PS5. On the PS5. I'm trying to think. Was Amazing Spider-Man 2 on the PS4? I don't think so. Um, yeah, I think Insomniac Spider-Man 1 was the only Spider-Man game on the PS4. There were several Spider-Man games on the PS2 and PS3 era, as well as a few Spider-Man games on the PS1. There have been a few Spider-Man games on the PS5 so far. Like, we've gotten a remaster of the first Insomniac Spider-Man game. We've gotten Miles Morales and Insomniac Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. I think that Insomniac Spider-Man 1 is the only game that was available on the PS4, so PS4 didn't have a lot of Spider-Man. But pretty much all the other Sony consoles have had a ton of Spider-Man games over the years. These three are my three favorite Spider-Man games. Like, by far. They are just my favorite Spider-Man games. So let's start with Friend or Foe. Friend or Foe, I loved growing up because I loved playing with a friend. I loved having I loved having one of my neighbors over, and we would play this game. I would put in the cheat code. I would put in the cheat codes to unlock three characters early. To unlock New Goblin, Sandman, and Venom all early. And then we'd get to choose which characters we wanted. Almost always, me and my neighbor chose Spider-Man and Venom. And then when the black suit came around, the one that had Spider-Man would switch over to the black suit Spider-Man, and we would just play through the whole game as a team, and that was just so fun. It was such a fun game, and there were so many characters that you could play as, and there were even in the other versions of the game there were other characters that you could play. There were other characters that were available to play as. There were other characters that became available to play as. Silver Sable was a character that could be played in the game on a special version. I believe Carnage could be played in the game on a specific version. Like each version of the game had its own unique characters you could play as. I think there was a version of the game where Nick Fury himself was a playable character. The game was incredibly fun and had a really fun story, and actually made Mysterio like really threatening and kind of intimidating. He was a really good villain in there, and maybe I'll do a terrible theory. Maybe I'll do a terrible theory on this at some point, but this game gave me a bit of a. This game gave me sprouted my first ever like actual video game theory, because I had played the first Spider-Man game, Spider-Man 1 on the PS1. I played that. I had played that, and In that game, you fight Mysterio, and you beat him. And Spider-Man mentions how no one can control the symbiote. How many times do I have to tell you, Mysterio? No one can control them. Um, and that line always stuck out to me as a kid. Like, wait, when did Mysterio ever try to control symbiotes? When did that happen? That happens here in this game. It happens here in this game. And so so as a kid I thought, wait, is this a prequel to the first Spider-Man game on the PS1? Is this a prequel? Are all the Spider-Man games connected in one big timeline? And so I started theorizing about that, and that was like one big theory that I had for a long time. And there's a lot of inconsistencies with the theory, but maybe I'll make a video about it. At some point. Just for the heck of it, because it is a fun theory just to think about, even if there are inconsistencies with it. But in any case, after that, there's Shattered Dimensions, and Shattered Dimensions was my first introduction to the whole idea of the Spider-Verse. In fact, this was the Spider-Verse. When this came out, the Spider-Verse was not even a thing. This was literally the first time a Spider-Verse event actually happened. This game was literally the first to do it. And seeing the success of this game, Marvel Comics basically decided to start doing their own Spider-Verse thing. And now we have a lot of really cool Spider-Verse stories, and we have the Miles Morales into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. So like we have those films, and we have those amazing Spider-Verse stories because of this game. It all spawned from this game, and that is so cool. That is absolutely amazing. And this one had it was the standard Spider-Man, and then there was also Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man Noir, and Spider-Man 2099. So Amazing Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Man 2099. All four of them teaming up in order to find pieces of this fragment that holds together reality as we know it. Amazing Spider-Man, he fought Mysterio for it and didn't realize what he was doing. So when he wound up destroying the tablet, it scattered the pieces across 4 separate dimensions. And so all of them have to team up in order to find the pieces of the fragment across several different levels, across 10 different levels. 11 different levels. Because there's the tutorial level, there's the final level, and then there's 9 levels total, with each different Spider-Man getting 3 levels to themselves. It goes Amazing Spider-Man, then 2099, then Noir, then Ultimate. And in each level you face a different villain from Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery. In each one, and they're all each of these villains are from their own respective dimensions. So you're fighting a Hammerhead from the Noir dimension, and you're fighting a Carnage from the Ultimate dimension, and you're fighting a Hobgoblin from the 2099 dimension. And so it's really cool. It's really cool seeing all of these different versions of Spider-Man's villains. In fact, a lot of people say that they were super interested to see a female Doc Ock in Into the Spider-Verse, and talking about how they've never seen that before, but it's actually been done before. There was a female Doc Ock in this game, in the 2099 Spider-Man dimension. There was a female Doc Ock. So, So yeah, so yeah, it was done before, and that's where they drew inspiration from. This is the game that they drew inspiration from for that character. So yeah, it's really cool. It's a really cool game, and Mysterio is an actual threat because with just a single piece of the fragment, the fragment was split up into um, 15 pieces. The fragment was split up. The fragment was split up into 15 pieces, and with just one piece of the fragment, Mysterio's illusions are now real. He's actually doing real magic this time, and so he basically is like, he basically ends up becoming an actual threat and threatens the entire multiverse. And the game is narrated by Stan Lee too. Stan Lee actually narrates the whole game. And Stan Lee had a hand in like coming up with the idea of like a Spider-Verse scenario. He came up with that idea for this game. So yeah, it's awesome. It's amazing, great game. And then Insomniac Spider-Man 2. Do I even need to explain why? It's a fantastic game. It's an absolute fantastic. It blows the first game out of the water with its story and gameplay and quality of life changes that just make the game so much more enjoyable. And the speed of everything. Oh, it's so much faster. Everything is so much faster now. The way you swing through New York just is so much faster now. To the point where, like, I tried going back to the first Insomniac's Spider-Man game, and it just felt so slow. It felt so slow compared to the second one. Oh, it's so much fun. I absolutely love it. And I do plan on doing a playthrough of the game, especially now that we know that it's not getting any DLC and all the DLC was scrapped. So that sucks. But I will be doing a playthrough of that game next year in January. I'm gonna start that in January, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that then. But yeah, so. In any case, that's it. That's all I got for this video. So, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.